Alright, the second topic for today is infographics. So we are going to learn how we make infographics, and you are going to create an infographic as the assessment task today. Okay, so the learning intention for today is to create an infographic. Okay, now your success criteria in here is there's 4 steps to create an infographic. Okay, now you should be able to create an infographic that conveys important information. I'll show you the example first, and then you'll go on and do your own infographic. Okay, now what is infographic? What do you mean from the word infographic? Okay, why do people display information visually? So infographic is something that has got visual representation of the information. Okay, for example, this COVID-19 coronavirus, how to avoid infection or spreading the virus. Okay, so these are the steps. If someone who is visual looks at this, they know what are the steps to avoid spreading the virus or infection. Okay, this is an infographic, example of infographic. I'll show you a couple more at the during the slides, so bear with me. Now, what is an infographic? So an infographic is a visual representation of data such as charts or diagrams. It doesn't always necessarily have to be charts or diagrams. It could be a written information, step-by-step information, but displayed in an infographic. So it has to be visual. Okay, it is a collection of imagery, charts, and minimal text that gives an easy to understand overview of a topic. Okay, so rather than writing a huge paragraph, for example, the coronavirus thing, if you start writing a huge paragraph, you'll have to write maybe about 10, 15, 20 lines, right, to convey your message. However, in an infographic, you display the information visually, and people who look at the infographic, they understand that this is a step-by-step process. This is what you need to do to stop spreading the virus. Okay. Now these are some of the examples of infographics. So marketing, the product, the prices. Okay, now these are the ring charts. You can create any kind of infographic. Again, as I said, there's a couple more examples at the end, so we'll see how it goes. Now, what is the purpose of an infographic? So, the increasingly popular way for economics to present their findings and data is to prepare an infographic. Okay. Now, economics is mostly charts and demand and supply graphs and all that things. So, when we're looking at economics or statistics, we display the data in a visual form. Okay. This is example of a bar graph. Okay, so this is how we represent the data. Okay, now infographics use pictures and symbols to represent complex ideas and data so that information is clear and quickly accessible. Okay, now they use pictures and symbols to represent complex, so the ideas that cannot easily be conveyed through the text, that's when they use the infographic, so that information is clear and people can understand what the information is being provided. Okay, now you can look here infographic. If you're looking at infographic or this bar chart, this is the incorrect version, this is the correct version, because it's got the same colors in there, and this displays the same thing. If you're looking at the bar graph of different items, then what is the comparison? You can't compare the data. Okay, when you're making a chart, there has to be some sort of similar things that you're making the comparison with. Okay, now this is an example, and this is the example I was talking about. So Australia's greenhouse emissions. So this is another example of infographic. Production causes greenhouse gas emissions, which causes more drought and flooding. Again, in the previous video I said if you don't know what drought is, by now you should know what this word means. It leads to more drought and flooding, less ice and snow. Okay, extreme weather conditions most of the times, rise in the sea levels, and rise in the sea levels means rise in greenhouse gases in Australia, which means there's less species survive. Okay, so it is giving the effects of greenhouse gas emissions to us. And being a layman myself, if I go through this tells me what happens if there's more and more greenhouse gas emissions. Okay. Now, how do you prepare an infographic? Okay. Now what you need to do is decide on a topic and the message that you want to communicate to your audience. So you need to look at what topic you want to cover and what is the message you want to give. Research your topic and collect data. Okay, so again you need to research your topic and you need to collect the data that you want to display that helps to communicate your key idea. Okay, again you need to look at how you're going, what data would you like to represent in the infographic. And again, because this is an infographic, you do not want to have so much data that it becomes impossible or very difficult for a person to understand it. Okay, and do not include more than 10 key facts or numbers. Okay, so it should display more information in lesser words. Again, it shouldn't be displaying more than 10 facts or numbers. Okay, otherwise it is going to become too messy and too cluttered, and people who are going to look at that, they're going to get confused what information you're relaying to them. Okay, so be very, very specific when you're doing an infographic. Okay, use a simple picture to communicate each of your key facts. Okay, keep it simple. It doesn't necessarily have to be very fancy ideas or something, so you need to convey your message with simple ideas so that people understand it better. Now lay your graphics out in a logical way that links together the key ideas. So think about the key idea you want to convey. You need to link it in a logical way, so one after the other. So do not, if the steps are not being followed, then if it's not logical, it doesn't make sense, people are not going to look at it. The infographic doesn't make any sense. Okay, make sure your infographic is not too cluttered. Again, as I said, do not put in too many words or data. Do not make it too cluttered. Make it easy and simple to read. Okay, now give your infographic a catchy title that communicates your message. So again, the title should be really good, that what you're conveying should be in your title. Okay, so the message should be conveyed, and then in your infographic there are the steps that actually go through that idea. Now this is the infographic for the same thing. There's two infographics there. So what happens when we yawn? Okay, it is a science kind of thing, but we'll go through this. This is infographic. Now what happens when we yawn? We take very deep breath, our muscles stretch and flex along with our joints. Our lungs expand, taking in a large amount of oxygen. Our facial muscles stretch, forcing more blood to flow to those areas, including the brain. Okay, so what happens when we yawn? So this is the infographic giving us information what happens step by step. Again, what happens when we yawn? Again, this is the infographic, but that is displaying a little bit of different information. Sorry, my slides going up and down. Now yawning helps your body bring in more oxygen. Yawning helps your body get rid of excess carbon dioxide. Yawning is evolutionary and a form of prehistoric man intimidating predators. Yawning was a sign that a change in activities is needed. Okay, yawning is the result of feeling bored. Yawning cools the brain, allowing for clear thinking. Okay, but this is the current theory, what the scientists think about yawning today. Okay, so again, this is the main idea is what happens when we yawn. The key idea is the same, but the information is different. Okay, so there's no right or wrong infographic. The main idea behind is your title has to be catchy title, and then you're displaying the information that you want to display. Okay, now this is the work you need to do. Design and present an infographic that compares the performance of the Australian economy with the performance of another country. Okay, you could use one country or you can use a couple of countries. So use these statistics on page 488 and 489. So there's a few data on these pages. So use any of these statistics and prepare an infographic. you may like to do some additional research on the internet to find relevant statistics that enhance your infographic. Okay, so if you feel this data is not enough, go on and do some research and add some more data to your infographic, okay, or more information. Now decide on the topic. Again, step-by-step process. Decide on the topic and the message you want to communicate to your audience. Research your topic and collect data that helps to communicate your idea. Try not to have too much data. Don't include more than 10 key facts or numbers. Okay, again, use a simple picture to communicate each of your key facts and lay your graphics in a logical way. Okay, this is your second task for today. Now if you finish this task in time, this is something you can work on. Okay, so create another infographic on the effects of pursuing higher economic growth rates to increased production. Okay, now this is just an idea of a topic. You can, there are also a list of topics that you can pick. Okay, but you will need to do a bit of research on these topics, and you need to find out what you need to display. Okay, so deforestation, desertification, extinction of species, soil erosion, oil depletion, ozone depletion, greenhouse gas emissions, water pollution, or natural hazards or natural disasters. Okay, very interesting topics. If you want to learn more about them, go on and do some research and create an infographic. Okay, and make sure you send it to me so that I can give you feedback on your work. Okay, have a good day, guys. Bye bye.